a smallish meeting, but we've got myself, Liz, Ben, Mike and Jose in the room. And various people joining us on IRC and with the streaming audio. The audio is apparently working for people, so that's good. So on the pad we've got a few items that I'd like to go through, and if anyone else wants to bring anything up, then that's cool too. So firstly, I'd like to sort of look at where we are, where we've come from January. I think we've had a reasonably good time of it in the precise cycle with the new IRCC. We've now completed the process of integrating the Ubuntu channels with made them core channels, so they operate exactly as the other derivative channels work now. So we've brought a bunch of new operators onto the team, and in doing so looked at the process that we apply to operator recruitment. And now here we are in the queue cycle, looking at repeating that for a new batch of operators. One of the things we want to do, well, that's a shame, you see. Yeah, not an awful lot we can do about that, I'm afraid. That's
well, we can
the screen breaking.
The IS crew if there's something wrong.
Is the audio stream okay for other people?
Are you using the M3U or VLC?
It's just latency.
Yeah,
I think
there's
so.
a bit of latency, but Ocean says it's fine, so
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Just a USC problem. So one of the things that well, firstly, does everyone, what does anybody else want to say about how we're doing in the P cycle?
It looked really good. A lot of improvements, better communication. It's been good.
Okay.
Has there been much feedback about the operator recruitment process? People think it's good. People complaining about it at all? Or?
Not really had any complaints. Yeah, it seems one of the things that are introducing is the concept of doing it in batches and aligning it with the cycles, so that there's a sort of relationship between the IRC team and the cadence of the project overall. And I think that's a good plan. And it doesn't involve us making any radical changes to our procedures. Any changes at all, really. So one of the things that we've done recently is a call for ops for all of the channels. Our procedures say that we do that. We do a call for ops when we want to, and then we process the queues. So this is following that same procedure, but just doing it at a timescale that's in line with the project. So the plan is to process those queues, and we've got some applicants in there who've been sitting around in the queues for a long time. And that's a problem in itself, and the way we're addressing it is by introducing a regularity. So in the next week or so, the IRCC will go through those queues and process them. We won't be automatically accepting everybody by any stretch, because there's just too many applications in there, and one of the things we want to do is get to inbox 0 on the queues. So we will be approving a bunch of applications. I don't know how many, but if it was in the order of 20, I wouldn't be surprised. 20 plus or minus 10, something like that.
How good are people at creating their wiki page and doing the whole process? Because I imagine some people just apply and they don't know.
Some people will just click the button. Some people are badge seeking. Some people will be. Some people will be easy decisions for us to to reject, other people will be easy decisions for us to accept. And then then there's a 3-month period where which has been termed probation or induction. We discussed a bit of the correct terminology for that phase. We settled, I think, on probation as being an internationally understood word. Induction was not so good for people with English as a second language. So there's a 3-month introductory period, and we want to put some training sessions on in that. Probably more training sessions than we did last time, but we didn't implement all the training that we thought we would. So we want to do more training on the bots and the channels and some of the features that we've got for managing the Hash Ubuntu channel that aren't required at the moment for some of the other derivatives, but I think everyone on the ops team should have an awareness of how that stuff works. The other thing we'll probably do when we're processing the queues is accept people for one channel only initially. So for that introductory period, we'll accept one of their applications and reject the others. And then at the end, they can apply for the other channels if they want to. If an existing core operator applies for a second channel, or one channel, then we will process that as it happens, without waiting for a call for ops or a cycle to go past. We'll just do that, and it'll be a yes or a no. It's not automatic, but it'll be quick.
Yeah, that's good. We don't need too much process around moving people.
No, there's no process around that. It's just, is this operator an operator of good standing who is appropriate for the channel that they're joining? Which, some people they might be a great operator in one channel, but we don't think that they're right for Hash Ubuntu or possibly Hash Ubuntu off topic where
there are challenges.
Yeah, there are different challenges and different culture and so on. And we take advice from the operators of the channel that they're joining as to whether there's a suitable out of it.
The IRC.
So, Yossi, what plans do we have for the better integration of Launchpad access lists? So, everybody on the core ops team and every applicant who we will be approving will have their Freenode Nixer account name in their Launchpad profile IRC NIC field. We have a spreadsheet that I will go find in a second, which a spreadsheet on Google Docs which has got all of the access lists, and I shall be going through that with some assistance from anybody who wants to join in to align the Launchpad access lists, which are definitive, with Freenode access lists, which are a bit flaky. I'll paste this into here. So in the IRC channel now is a link to the spreadsheet, and there's got a bunch of tabs, one for each channel, and on each channel there is the access list, and parsed out from that is the IRC account name and the level of access they've got. Now, some of the channels, the accesses that have been assigned are a bit all over the place. So, look at Hash Ubuntu. There are people with VOTIA, VOTRIRA, and other assorted levels of access, and we're probably going to tidy that up. And I've got to have a conversation with some people who have got an idea of why it got into that state. No, I've not talked to T. Simpson about it yet in detail, you see. So in our wiki page on creating channels, I think it suggests an access list, an access flag setting of VOTIA as being suitable for most operators. A lot of our channels aren't like that, and I need to understand why before we go changing everything. Yeah, that's a good point, you see, about legacy or with people with founder access. That's probably a thing we should put on an IRCC meeting agenda as to whether anybody should have founder access to any channel. My inclination at the moment is not to remove it where it's harmless. So things like Jonathan Riddell having founder access in Ubuntu, I'm not inclined to go removing that for it's creating drama where drama isn't needed is what I want to avoid doing. But alternatively, it might be a good idea to say no humans have founder access anywhere, and just the Ubuntu IRC council account can have founder access. Yeah, okay, he's a GC as well, yeah. That's a situation that isn't a problem.
Does IRC Council have access to any of the local channels?
The IRC Council is the group contact for Hash Ubuntu Star. So we have got access to quite a lot of the local channels, because we advise people when creating channels to give our NIC access so that we can fix problems.
Yeah.
And as we're the group contact for that whole namespace, we can request free node assistance to take.
Okay. I don't know that you guys, for instance, have access to our local channel, but if there was like ever a case where somebody that didn't have any privileges for the channel was not in the channel and something was going on, what would be the process for?
So the process for that would be to go into the Hash Ubuntu IRC channel and ask for help.
Okay.
And any one of the ops team can possibly help, either catalyzing and dealing with the problem without having ops access, or they can ask the IRC council to sort it out, possibly with free node assistance.
Okay.
Generally, we've got some advice on creating channels for loco teams, and we'd like to keep consistent naming across the loco team channels. So it's Hash Ubuntu - loco team country code, or well, UK isn't actually our country code, but it's a reserved one.
Yeah.
Whose English is slipping? Why is my English slipping? Oh, it's going to start, you'll see, with a UG.
An unboot. So yeah, one of the, I'll carry on.
So one of the tasks over the next few weeks is to work on this spreadsheet and align the channel flags with the launchpad groups. Okay, going back to the pad for the moment. So we've talked about the progress from January. Talked a bit about operator recruitment that we're going through at the moment. In terms of, we're going to process the queues shortly, and we're going to schedule training sessions, more than one session this time, over the course of the next 3 months. So 3 months into the cycle, we'll have another batch of operators, and then at the just after UDS QR. After UDSR, we'll do another intake of operators. So the next topic that to talk about is the IRCC council member election. So at the moment we've got 4 out of 5 IRC council members. Our charter says that we should have 5, and we're going to fix that, but it's actually not our problem to fix. It's the community council's problem to fix, because they do the appointment. So I've added an item to the CC agenda for their next meeting to say, hey guys, get on with it.
What do you think about the environment of the community now when it comes to doing this call? Because last time, there was only like,
there were 4 applicants
for 5 spots.
Scary, a scary prospect.
So what are you thinking now?
I'm thinking there will be applicants.
That's what I want to hear.
Oh. Mia's unavailable for selection for IRCC, yes. Oh well. But I'm fairly confident that there will be more than zero applications for the post. So on this page here that I will paste over here, we have our appointment process. And so elections will be held in the following way. So there will be an open call for nominations announced in the IRC community, and people can nominate themselves for a seat, and everyone's welcome to apply. Well, in terms of the term of this one, I'm going to recommend to the community council that it's something like an 18-month term, or whatever it would be, so that it finishes at the same time as everyone else on the council. Candidates create a wiki page and get testimonials. The IRC council will review the applications and provide feedback to the community council to review, so we can do that, that's cool. CC shortlists. So they've got an opportunity to prune the list at that point, and circulate publicly, and then will be voted upon by team members, and that's the IRC members team. So that is Ubuntu members who have identified themselves as having an interest in being an IRC stakeholder. And then the community council rubber stamps the decision, basically.
You do a very thorough review.
A thorough review, yes.
Voting results.
So Yussi has said we need to be prodding those we think would make good people as IRCC applicants. Yeah, I think that's absolutely right, Yussi. One thing I would state is that I'm not going to do any testimonials on anyone, because I think that would be overly weighted. But because I'll be reviewing and passing to the CC, so don't bother asking me for a testimonial. But yeah, we should be prodding people. Yeah, it says there'll be several applications, totally different thing if any of them will be any good. I think they'll be good. So is there any questions about that process? Yeah, the IRCC will send the full list to the CC with our comments. We won't be removing anyone from the list, certainly.
That's our main job.
Yeah. Scary Liz does it. We might send the full list to the CC with a recommendation not to include certain people, but we won't hide anything from the CC. They'll find it anyway. In terms of timescales, what do you think, Liz?
Next CC meeting is on Thursday, and I think we can get the ball rolling immediately after that. Well, if we're all live, a week, next week. But I don't see a problem with moving forward. So I think we'll probably be able to talk at the meeting, and we'll say, sure, so should we put out the call for nominees? Is that what you said? Or are you guys putting out the call?
If you do the call, and we'll distribute the call.
Okay.
So you do the call somewhere.
All right, so just, come to the CC meeting, we'll say, yes, we should start this process, and then...
Yeah, and we'll announce it in our meeting and in the channels,
Okay.
and on the mailing list and on our blog and other places. But if the CC doesn't announce it somewhere,
Okay.
would be good.
Yeah, so we can get this, soon.
There's a kind of a rule or an encouragement to have people on only one governance board.
Yes, I don't want to.
Otherwise, we steal it.
Also, so I've been lurking in the council channel this past 6 months, and I think I can leave now, or maybe once we get the last member in or whatever. I mean, I was just there as making sure everything went smoothly with the transition and stuff, and I don't really see a reason to have a CC member in there anymore.
Okay.
So I think I can go.
Okay, so that's the IRCC council member election process and timescales. So we'll start the thing fairly soon, and we'll discuss timescales with the CC in terms of closing and voting and Condorcet voting thing we do again?
Yeah.
Condorcet.
Yeah. I think Daniel has a secret script that pull in all the public email addresses and then pull email addresses from GPG keys uploaded in Launchpad, and then everyone else who's not included, I think there's an email that goes out and says, if you didn't get an invite to the poll, let us know.
Yeah.
Give us your email address.
Okay, so we're about halfway into the session, and we've completed most of what I wanted to say. Is there anything anybody else wants to add to what we've said and to cover in terms of our plans for the Q cycle? Okay, so there's a comment from USC saying, we've had some discussion earlier about pulling people into places temporarily as observers to lessen the intrigue of things like ops and IRCC. Have you any thoughts on that? We did think about that. I think it would be that there are reasons why it's not a brilliant concept. Because if people are being invited in temporarily, it's either messing around with the voting process and sort of pre-deciding a voting process, or you're going to have to invite somebody in and then revoke their access and kick them out and create drama. So it's an interesting suggestion, but I'm personally not entirely keen on it for various reasons. Good day. I lost my jam. Yeah, the other point about this is we don't really say an awful lot in private now.
I can confirm that. Just in the
Yeah,
it's like a council channel, but it's not very active. very boring.
So yeah, the IRCC council channel is deadly dull. It's generally me poking people and saying, hey, is this meeting time okay for you, or stuff of that nature. We don't really have a lot of chatter in there. It's mostly in Ubuntu Ops team, to be honest. Okay, a comment from LJL. Why don't we just open up -ops again once and for all?
Ops is open. Ops team is closed.
So, yeah, does this mean allowing people to lurk in there? I'm reasonably comfortable with the state of -ops, in that it's a channel that is for resolving issues one at a time. The way it's sort of drifted is that we've got the ops channel is for that specific purpose, and then we've got the -ops team channel where we have more of a general team discussion. Technical solutions to social problems. That always works. Let's add some notes here. Yeah, it's. Why would somebody random, say some random perfectly nice person from a local team somewhere, what's in it for them for idling in -ops? Yeah, okay, so people do pop into ops to say, hey, there's this problem in this channel, and then they get told to leave. Yeah, so that happens with people like the admin and stuff like that in Ubuntu sometimes.
I think you can discuss everything like problems, bans, and those things in ops team, which is closed. Leave ops open for people to go and say, I'm having this problem, there's a troll in this channel, or something like that. Or have it moderated.
Yeah, the problem is, so there are some, as LJL pointed out, there are some perfectly nice people who pop into ops to tell us about problems, and they get removed, or they get asked to remove. Not because we want to get rid of them, but because we want to have a consistent policy, so that we don't get shouted at for removing people we don't want in there, and being selective about that. You know what? I think we should encourage people that are perfectly nice and pop into ops every now and again to tell us about problems to apply to the ops. And then they can be in there with plus B. And I know that some of those people are in the queues. So, is this a problem that will go away if we process the queues? Ding, ding, ding. You have won the internet. Okay, so let's park that and we'll process the queues and we'll come back to is the idling a problem at some point after we process the queues and made a bunch more sensible people who are hanging around the ops team actually ops. So I'll add a note in the Etherpad. The problem with making those The problem with making those people ops is that some people aren't necessarily aware of everything that goes with being an op. That's what the training process is for. As you mentioned in your email, which I did get and did read a little bit of, and will read the rest of, Mia sent us an email with some comments on various people in the queues, which is very helpful. So yeah, we have a probation period for that, we have training for that, and there might be some people who we don't consider suitable who do pop into ops every now and again and do get asked to leave, and we probably still want to ask them to leave.
For example, when I enter Ubuntu for some occasional support, I see troll get into ops don't call ops because ops is for an emergency situation. So I get into ops and tell there's troll and blah blah blah, but I'm too active in Ubuntu so I can get into an opposition.
Yeah. So
basically, I'm just helping getting into ops while I'm in Ubuntu.
Also, Hash Ubuntu isn't the only channel to be a core op in that gets you into the ops channel.
Topic.
So there's off topic, there's flavors, and a few others. Yeah, plus one is actually a mirror of the Hash Ubuntu list, so that's not a channel you can apply for. There are a few exceptional core channels where plus one is. If you're an op in Hash Ubuntu, you're an op in +1, and dash ops, you have to be a core. If you're an op for a year, I think it is, you can apply and you'll just get it if you want it.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, what about something like, instead of it being the ops team that can idle in ops, maybe the IRC team?
How do we define that?
It's the IRC members.
Ubuntu-IRC-team.
I think it's the IRC, the Ubuntu members or IRC.
Oh, allowing the Ubuntu members cloak to idle there. Just the IRC members cloak.
Well, that's Ubuntu member. That's every Ubuntu member, right?
Yeah, but we can do that in access lists.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I'd support having the.
But then you don't have to be an op, but you can be someone who has been vetted by the community in some manner. Idling there.
Yeah, I would be fine with Ubuntu members being allowed to hang out in ops. We probably need to voice them so that we know who can see them. good.
So there's, with Ubuntu members being able to hang out in there and you know, have a better communication, there's a higher threshold of them understanding what the purpose of the channel is, because they're not new to the project, or it's not their first time on IRC.
So to get a difference between ops and Ubuntu members, we can maybe give voice to Ubuntu members and automatic ops to ops. Like to
No, I don't want to do automatic ops.
Sorry?
I don't want to have people opt by default.
No, I mean in the ops team channel or in the ops channel. So
Yeah,
they can,
not there.
This is what Terrence just objected to.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, yeah, Terence is right. So, yeah, I think LJL, these are some perfectly valid points. I would like to see what state it's in after we process the queues and who we process before thinking again about whether to open it. Right, so we've got 4 minutes left. I thought we had way more time than that. Well, so this ends at 45. Okay, so the final topic that I'd like to talk about briefly, because we've got a separate session scheduled on it tomorrow, is about the use of IRC for the Ubuntu Developer Summit, and specifically for the rooms in the UDS and the screen over there, and how we use that. So what we've seen throughout this UDS is a lot of people sitting exactly where Ben is, leading a session with the IRC behind them and not reading it. In this session, yeah, we're being quite good at reading everything that's being said, because we've got it in front of us on laptops and it's up on the screen and we're paying attention to it. But there's not enough paying attention to remote participants at UDS, because it's not positioned right, it's not in your face enough. It's also hard to find the log files for a session like this 3 months down the line.
Yeah.
Because you've got to work out, you know, here's the pad for this session, what date and time was it in, what room was it in, and the logs are on the wrong server, and you've got to go and find them, and nobody bothers.
isn't that stored in Summit?
That isn't, the IRC logs.
So
So-
this is a wider problem as well. The audio streams, someone in my local was asking about where to find the audio streams, and that was hard too. So I think
That's another topic that I want to integrate, which is
Everything.
Tumbleweed does awesome recordings of the ice casts, and associating those with the pad and the contributions from the remote participants in a sensible way is what I want to do. You see, yes, we could embed the IRC in the same page as the Etherpad, which doesn't fix the logs problem. Now, if you go to yeah, you're right, LJL, too much pressure. Let me paste in a link here. So this is Etherpad Lite. It's not the latest version of Etherpad Lite, but it's one where I've hacked around and added some sort of libnotify style pop-ups. You can name yourself in the top right as Jose, and you can give yourself a little color. Now, the way this is set up, everybody in the room at UDS has often got a laptop in front of them, and they've got the pad in front of them, and they're staring at the laptop screen, or they're staring at the big screen. And we can arrange this so that one of the two projectors in the room is displaying the pad and the notes, so nobody has to faff around with HDMI connections to projectors to get the pad on the screen, so they can use the second projector for demos and other content, and have have one projector that's pre-set up with the pad and the chat, and you get the pop-ups, which are more, you know, hey, look at me, noticeable.
Oh.
Nice.
Be interesting to see Etherpad remixed with Subway. So then instead of using this chat, you click it and it opens the Subway session, which is our web IRC client that has a persistent connection.
Yeah, having some sort of link between this and IRC, or some maybe a bot that allows people to say something in an IRC channel and have it push up
grab
here,
it.
and vice versa would be something of interest. So the way Etherpad Lite works is it's a Node.js server that sends JSON streams backwards and forwards. It's quite a clean API because they rewrote the last one based on the good bits. Monty, you're right. Mobile and accessibility needs to be assessed. Etherpad Lite does have mobile support. Accessibility, yes, it's not great, but it's okay, and I can improve that.
Oh.
It's not going to be perfect because a multiplayer text editor does not work well if you can't see what's going on, because there are 5 cursor positions, and you know, Gobby was technically quite accessible, but you still couldn't make any head nor sense of it because there are multiple people typing stuff in different positions on the screen. So I have used this with a mobile client, and it works. The other thing we can do with this that is cool is have the pad portion read only and the chat read write. So popular news sites can link to a page, and we can allow people to chat and contribute to the session without vandalizing the pad. And we can also have automatic login between Summit and Etherpad. So factum, you're on your phone electing not to bring a laptop on public transport. Okay, that's cool. And you can use this on your phone. One thing we should note is, yes, IRC is awesome, and it is available on multiple clients, but practically to do remote participation, you've got to have a VLC session open for the streaming audio and a web browser for the pad. So having IRC connection for a lot of people is an additional client that they do not have. But they do have a web browser in front of them because they've just clicked on a link and there it is. Okay, so we are out of time. There is a second session tomorrow specifically on this Etherpad Summit integration. So it would be great if people come along to that. But what I wanted to do is just sort of chuck it out there that next UDS we're planning to deprecate IRC for the session communication. We'll still have the Ubuntu UDS channel for general what bar are we meeting in type chats. Yeah, you're right. Having IRC and Etherpad open on a phone is not practical, but having Etherpad with chat open on a phone is practical. I've done it.
And Subway actually uses Node as well.
Cool. Okay.
So maybe I could talk to the author about seeing about hacking it into Etherpad. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
So with this, you don't have any window management problem. You can have the chatter popping up over, you minimize this chat thing and you still see the bubble notifications. So you don't have to flip between your browser and your IRC client. The chat sort of pops up where it is. And also, 6 months down the line, you go to the page and it's got the notes. We'll have a link to the audio and we'll have a link to the contributions from the remote participants.
All in one area and you don't have to search in multiple places.
Yeah, there's no going and hunting and
We're having chat.